It's the current year, and people are still talking about Gamergate. And now Gamergate was a 4chan conspiracy, even though it didn't originate on 4chan. Never mind, let's have a look, Ars Technica. Apparently, according to a set of IRC logs released on Saturday, they show a handful of 4chan users were ultimately behind Gamergate. Really? Let's have a look at these logs. Oh, well, I guess I'll just take your word for it, won't I, Ars Technica? But anyway, it's supposedly a grassroots movement aimed at exposing ethical lapses in gaming journalism. The logs show a small group of users orchestrating a hashtag campaign to perpetuate misogynistic attacks by wrapping them in a debate about ethics in gaming journalism. Yeah, you mean people are opposing feminist corruption. That's what you're saying. When you say it's misogynistic attacks, it means it's corrupt women who are feminists, and the men around them who facilitated it and also were corrupt. That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, it feels like very small fry now, looking back on it, but man, it felt like a big deal at the time. But what I love about this, right, Gamergate didn't start on 4chan. It started when Adam Baldwin had tweeted out the hashtag Gamergate to refer to a phenomenon that was essentially created by Mr. Mythica when he was Internet Aristocrat. And he was caused by him recording a video about something called the Zoe post, which was Erin Joni, Zoe Quinn's ex-boyfriend, who, she's effectively, by her own standards, she had raped and abused him because she'd had sex with other people, unprotected, and then had sex with him. So it was without his consent because he didn't know that she wasn't, infected with something, I guess. I don't know. They've got very high standards in the sort of social justice community. But I mean, an argument could be made. But either way, she was abusive towards him, and he wanted to document it because he didn't know what else to do, I suppose. And he got ostracized by his community, obviously, and this got picked up by Internet Aristocrats, and then he just went and covered a lot of the corruption in the gaming industry, which was all true. I mean, these people, like, wildly incestuous relationships, donating money to one another, it's a huge thing, and I don't want to go over it. But anyway, this is essentially what they're trying to explain here. But I don't even know how Anita Sarkeesian got dragged into Gamergate. I think she just jumped on it. She was like, ooh, a bunch of people attacking feminism. I can make some money here. But this was all done by 4chan, you see, everyone. I mean, I have videos that get hundreds of thousands of views, but it's all 4chan. 4chan. No one had any input outside of 4chan. You have to understand. And it's a conspiracy between 5 people on 4chan. It wasn't that there were hundreds of thousands of people who were bothered about this, and that developed down to a core of about probably at most sort of 50,000 hardcore supporters, before it ended. But what I love about this is that no, it wasn't. It was a couple of people on 4chan and hundreds of thousands of bots. We're all Russian bots, you see. It's Russian bots that watch my videos, It's Russian bots that give me all the views on the videos and who are making all the comments and who donate to my crowdfunding campaigns and buy my t-shirts and come to my live shows and recognize me. It's all Russian bots, guys, right? We, the collective internet, did nothing. Russian bots. Somehow the ethics controversy sucked in Anita Sarkeesian. Yes, that bastion of ethics. That scamming bully or bastion of ethics, depending on how you want to paint her. God. Anyway, so they became lightning rods for gamers. Yes, so they had to update this article, as you can see at the bottom. Update to clarify above, the actor Adam Baldwin was the first to use the hashtag. According to Twitter analytics site Topsy, yes, we know. The people who are busy lying about Gamergate know that that's how it started. But anyway, so eventually a second hashtag sprouted, Not Your Shield, which was pitched as an attempt by the worldwide gaming community to show that it isn't just male gamers who are speaking about Gamergate, and this isn't an issue of hating feminism nor wanting women in the community. Well, to be honest with you, I think it probably was an issue of hating feminism, because I think feminism was ultimately responsible for what was happening. It's sort of feminists who basically, I mean, it's the same with any of these kind of social justice activists. They think the ends justify the means, and because they have the right set of beliefs, they are morally pure as they define themselves because of what they believe. What they do to other people is really of less relevance, and they can kind of, ameliorate their guilty consciences. Anything can go, basically, which is why they're so awful. Just so you know. Discussion logs, however, suggest Not Your Shield didn't begin as a broad movement, but was a campaign manufactured and orchestrated by 4chan users. Yet who do you think 4chan users are? Asked Technica. Exactly. Like, they are part of the worldwide gaming community, at least, the ones who are gamers who also use 4chan are. I mean, 4chan is a site that anyone can post on. I mean, how do we know that everything you have here wasn't posted by Zoe Quinn herself? Could you ever confirm the source of this? So you can say, well, we know this wasn't some inside job or anything like that. If we're slinging around conspiracy theories, I've got one of my own. Zoe Quinn manufactured all of the hatred against her. How's that? I haven't got any proof either, but then neither do you. So what difference does it make? But anyway, yeah. So some people, let's assume for the sake of argument, Zoe Quinn didn't send all of this stuff to herself. Yeah. There is a crossover between gaming and 4chan, I guess. So when you say 4chan users, you aren't talking about like an organisation. They're not paid. They're not distinct from the general public or the gaming, like gamers at large, people who play video games at large. No, these are basically the same thing. But anyway, not all of it, obviously. Not all gamers use 4chan. Not all 4chaners play games. But some do, and there's your crossover. There's your Venn diagram. So, yeah, I mean, like, they were discussing Gamergate. I think we're doing pretty good on the Gamergate front. Lots of support. Tons of people are picking up the self-chastising when people start getting insulting. Yeah, there, like, everyone was participating in Gamergate. And these people are thinking about Gamergate in a tactical manner. I mean, you can see they are trying to help the Gamergate movement, or were, and it was because of people like Ars Technica cooperating with people like Zoe Quinn. I mean, everyone's seen the sort of in-group preference that social justice warriors have at this point. Everyone's familiar with it. It's exactly the same thing in Comicsgate. And like Ethan Van Scriver, he's completely right with just how vile the SJWs are. I mean, we've all known it for years now, but like, and it's the belief that the end justifies the means. And so anyway, yeah, okay, there were people talking about Gamergate on 4chan. Yes, there were. I believe it. It's not like some terrible conspiracy. That's just some people on 4chan. But there were literally, I think at one point it was something like 150,000 unique uses of the tag on Twitter in one day or something. It was immense. And the Gamergate subreddit, Kotaku in Action, I think it's probably got over 100,000 followers on it now. So, I guess there's a reason they keep talking about it. It was a big deal back then anyway, especially in 2014 when things were very different and sort of like internet culture, man. Very different. But as with the manufactured campaign End Father's Day, yeah, that's something that a bunch of SJWs fell into because they were like, yeah, fathers don't deserve their own day, until everyone realised, Jesus, that sounds awful and not like equality at all if we're going to have a Mother's Day. But, and yeah, there were people using fake images. Yes, there are. What do you think that means? But, so yeah, apparently 4chan members have denounced the logs to The Escapist. That has no fucking weight to it. Like, by the way, some people from 4chan said they denounced those logs. Well, they're the same people. Do they have any connection to one another? Did they even read those logs when they were first posted? Did they even know Gamergate happened? Like, who the fuck are you talking about? You're talking about random people. You can't pin anything on any of these people. But anyway, so David Futrell of We Hunted the Mammoth. This David Futrell is one of my favourite lolcals. He set up a site called We Hunted the Mammoth because he hates men. And he hates MRAs who are supporting the idea of men's rights. And he, for some reason, has to spend all of his time hating on them. And that's what We Hunted the Mammoth is about. It's a common thing that men say, apparently, in defence of manliness and masculinity. The 4chaners expressed their hatred and disgust towards Quinn. They expressed their glee at the thought of ruining her career. They fantasized about her being raped and killed. Okay, look, Quinn shouldn't have a career, really, outside of being a sort of minor female game developer in sort of like San Francisco community. She shouldn't really have a career because her games are unbelievably bad. And that's from someone who programs unbelievably bad games, okay? They fantasize about her being raped and killed. I don't know about that, and I don't care. I don't see why anyone would fantasize about Zoe Quinn. They wonder if all the harassment will drive her to suicide. The thought of 4chan getting bad publicity convinces some of them this isn't something they should hope for. Yes, welcome to 4chan, Jesus. They gleefully distribute news of her... Well, she also gleefully distributed news of herself. She sold them, didn't she? She used to sell them online. Posting links to online archives of them, blah, blah, blah. They dig up all sorts of information about her and her family. Yes, doxing thing. Yeah, this happens to literally everyone from every side. Like, it's happened to me from the SJWs, it's happened to me from the alt-right, it's happened to me from, like, any community that I've managed to sort of annoy, I guess. The worst elements do really bad things in proportion to how much you annoy them. It's just the nature of the internet. I think that's a bad thing too. I wish people wouldn't do it. I really fucking wish they wouldn't do it. But what can you do? Anyway, while the hashtag campaigns gained steam and eventually sustained by a large population, the chat logs shed new light on the motivations and actions of those who did the most to push Gamergate into the spotlight. I don't agree that they are the people who did the most to push Gamergate into the spotlight, and I don't even think they think they were the ones who did the most. I think that what they thought of themselves as doing is kind of steering it in the right direction to prevent it from crashing on certain sort of losing arguments, against the SJWs. I think that's what they think that they were doing, and I don't think they think that they were pushing it to the spotlight. Adam Baldwin did that, and just the sheer number of people who ended up paying attention to it, like, intensively, because of, like, everyone on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Reddit, and, every kind of social media forum where people can talk. What it was is an open revolt against the establishment, and they couldn't take it. They could not fucking take it that people just saying, you know what, we've had enough of you lot. What was really ironic is a bunch of socialists were opposed to the proletariat unionizing, because that's what we were doing, just as gamers, people who bought and played games and weren't really interested in having this shit shoved in our faces. And we're sick of, like, them shilling all of their friends. If you read any kind of gaming media, they were always shilling their fucking friends. It's like, look, like, your friends' games suck. You suck. Fuck off with your gender studies degrees. I'm just not bothered about it. But that's what it was. It's an open rejection of the establishment. And that's why Gamergate scared them so much. And honestly, that's why Dissenter is scaring them so much. It's really interesting seeing the reaction to that. But I'll do another video about Dissenter probably tomorrow. Because I want to see, I want to give them a bit of time for the kind of hate articles to roll in. But it's already, get this, a far-right app. How the app itself has no interest or political opinions. The comments, perhaps, are far right, but Jesus Christ, the app itself is just a way of commenting on websites. I don't know why you don't use it. I don't know why social justice warriors aren't like, well, yeah, I mean, I can put whatever I want wherever I want then. Isn't that good? I can go on, whatever Roosh V's channel and go, this is a hotbed of patriarchy and white supremacy. Why not? There are people who will read it and they'll be like, oh, Jesus Christ, well, I wonder what their arguments for that are. I'm sure they're very compelling. Although, to be fair, in Roosh V's case, maybe they are. But you can actually, you can comment and leave a timestamp on the video or, comment specifically on the article with a quote of a thing that you specifically want to address. You can actually leave that there in perpetuity and it will always be there. The counter argument that you're making, it's such a genius idea. And I tell you what, I really love it. And honestly, the one thing I want from it is just a way to follow other people so I can see what they're posting on too. So as a way of following their interests and keeping abreast of current events and things like that without having to rely on some kind of centralized control. I become my own centralized sort of news network. I mean, obviously that means you have to make sure you're following people from both sides of the aisle. It can be frustrating if the lefties don't come on then, isn't it? But I do that. I make sure I do that. So I think it's great, and I think the ability to comment on anything is fab. It's sad that it's been reduced to this. The level of dialogue we had. It's sad that it's been reduced to this. But honestly, hats off to Torba. He really nailed it. Really nailed this one.